You're listening to The Angry Designer, where we cut through the industry bull to help frustrated graphic designers survive and thrive.
What's up? Here we go.
Hey.
Cheers to this.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Ooh.
Starting off with a nice little bit of sipping, just to warm us up with
Just to get warm.
this crazy ass storm outside. What the hell? We're having like a whole month's worth of snow in 2 days. I'm all cool about being Canadian and I love my snow, but this just is ridiculous.
Come on. I know. It was so nice yesterday. And now we're knee deep in snow.
Even
again.
this morning, dude. Like this
Yeah.
morning, it was so warm outside. Oh God, I feel so bad. I was like, woke up really early this morning, and I'm drinking my coffee. It's like 6 a.m, and next door they have like those nurses that come 24 hours a day, right? Like the helper aid ones. And I see this nurse pull up, parks the car across the street, gets out. She's got a coffee in hand, and she's got her bag on rollers. Doesn't she wipe out? She goes from completely standing straight up to completely. I don't even think I saw like an emotion going down, and I could hear this woman screaming from inside my house, and I was like, "Shit!" And she wasn't moving, so I was I know I was a little panicky for the poor woman. So I ran outside. Of course, it's middle of winter. I got t-shirt and pajama pants on. They were cool pajama pants, but nonetheless, they're barefoot.
Barefoot, too.
And when I hit the road, I literally slid all the way to her. And then she was, and needless to say, my feet were blue by the time I got back in. But she was out cold. Like,
for real?
Yeah, I felt so bad.
woman.
I mean, and then I didn't know what was wrong with her face, but it wasn't a coffee she had. It was hot chocolate. Because it looked, and I'm just like, Did your face, is it turning colors and it looked camoed? Man, I felt sorry for that poor woman. I know, I don't want to laugh.
I shouldn't laugh.
No, and you know what the funny thing is? I told my kids then, and when they woke up at like 7:30, they're all howling. I'm like, it wasn't really that funny, guys. And they're like, yes, it was. Just like, oh God. And I'm sure when I was their age, I think it'd be funny too. A little part of me chuckles now that I know that she wasn't sent to the hospital, but
oh my goodness,
it was pretty scary.
There's all kinds of videos on the internet with stuff like that, with people getting hurt. I'm kind of a sucker for it, but I mean, I laugh, but I mean, I've done that.
Such jerks.
I've fallen on my ass numerous times. I shouldn't laugh, but it is funny.
It is kind of, well, you got to make humor. You got to find
humor.
She was
okay, though.
She was okay.
Okay,
I
good.
think. Yeah. She walked it. I basically walked her back up into the house. She was okay. Again, my feet were blue by the time I got back.
Jeez.
Oh damn!
I bet you she feels like shit today.
Yeah, she's gonna be sore to say the least, right? Needless to say, if my act of goodwill inspired you to follow us awesome podcasters, I think you should go and leave us a review on our podcast.
Yes.
Head over to Apple, leave us a review because we have our contest going on.
Yes.
So for the next 3 months, every month, we are giving away a set of AirPods. Right? Kind of nice.
Nice.
One for anybody who reviews in February, March, and April.
Cool.
Right? So we're going to just do a tally. If like 5 people do it in February, well, then your chances are 1 in 5. If 5 people leave us reviews, we need reviews because, we are nice people. We have lots to say.
People.
And we want people to hear this, but we need those damn reviews.
We need the reviews. Please.
Yeah, please help us. Come on.
5 seconds out of your day. They're great. Something like that.
Keep it simple and right to the point. We do nice things.
Yeah. We help people. We don't laugh all the time at people that fall, you know?
just when we know they're
We do.
okay.
Yeah. We'll laugh, but we'll help them as well.
Of course. That's right. Blue feet people.
Blue feet. That's right. Yeah,
All right. There
this
we
is
go.
the lengths we go to. We will get frostbite on our feet.
So speaking of helping people, moving on kind of to, our whole topic today.
Yes.
So I have a friend, I have a very good friend. I actually have another friend, Sean.
Oh.
And
what?
Yeah, I do.
I thought I was your only friend.
No, surprise.
Oh.
And he is one of, if not the best graphic designer I know. Oh. This dude owns white space, right? His stuff is always such awesome quality, right? Like I look up to him for stuff, right? Our styles are so different, right? So we can't even compare. But like we've come together on projects for a little while. We even tag teamed, started a company to take on, specific large clients, because we both had different strengths to come together, right? Our styles were so different.
Yeah.
So we tried and we couldn't come together in a style.
Yeah.
But where we did come together is, he was one of those people that I could trust 100% with the design. And then I would just go pitch it, sell it, like awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Just do that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
So
you're like a super group.
Well, we're kind of so okay. Here's
Hall
one
and
pitch.
Oates,
Wait.
that
Let me
kind
tell
of
you about this one pitch. Let me tell you about this one pitch. So we had the opportunity to pitch for an insurance company, and
Yeah.
that was a big deal for us.
Right.
Right. Because I mean, this was still younger. I think we were both in our about like 10, 12th year in business. Right. Insurance company, and it was an insurance company for teachers.
Oh.
Right. So it was very, very niche, very specific.
Yeah.
And again, his work was awesome. My work was awesome. Right. And we had a perfect chemistry for this specific job. We went in, we knew who else was pitching. We knew other agencies, right? And so the whole, we knew exactly who else they were interviewing. Yeah. So kind of had to do something different for this, right? So we went into the pitch and so we went into the pitch and it was him, it was myself, and it was 7 women, right? Totally like, wow, okay. Like there was no dudes, it was all women, but I was okay, right? Not that there's any problem or not, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, what the hell can we do different, right? We had a big ass portfolio book that we brought with us, right? We printed it out on some amazing cardstock. The layout was, our pieces were incredible, right? It was all in there. It was a great pitch.
Yeah.
Walked in, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Sat down, right? And they're like, so, tell us about yourself. And I'm like, well, you know what? I held up the portfolio book and I was like, I know you guys are interviewing, quality agencies. You're not going to waste your time with anybody. And I guarantee you they're all capable of the exact same great work that we have in this presentation.
Right.
I'm just going to leave this presentation for you. We're not even going to open it up. Instead, let's get to know each other.
Yeah.
Let's find out what you're looking for. We'll tell you about us and we'll see if there's a chemistry match. Because I didn't make it about the work.
Yes.
Because there was no question that everybody they were interviewing was going to be great.
Yeah.
They were going to be experienced companies. They weren't just asking like people with 1-2 years experience.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily fair to just be like, well, I like this job that this company did versus this one. That's fine. It was more about, something else.
Yes.
Dude, so all 7 of them, all 7 of the women, they kind of looked confused.
Like,
and then they were like, right? Then they just sat back in their chairs. There was no pressure, no bullshit. And we just started talking.
Nice.
Needless to say, we were there for like 90 minutes. We were just chatting, getting to know each other. And then in the end, they were like, you know what? Let's look in there anyway. Right? And then they were asking then to look, and it was like, what was the secret, right? So needless to say, we did get that job. We got the work. We had that customer for like 3 years. Nice. It was probably the most we've ever billed, for any customer's hourly rate. And, we based everything. It was great.
Yeah.
Okay. Total side story. Okay. But we had a very different relationship, right? Like he was very much, he was a little more quieter, a little bit more reserved, right? Very calm. Yeah. And that is totally the opposite of what I am, right? I am not calm and this. So I met up with him, a couple of weeks ago. And he's freelancing right now, so he exited a company about a year ago. Yeah, so so he's been having fun with life right now, right? Nice. And he's just dabbling in freelance in the meantime. He doesn't necessarily have to work, but again, it's at the same time it keeps him busy, right? That and all of his other really cool hobbies. And so he had an opportunity to work with a client, right? And he's like, "Here, can I get your impression on something? Or can I get your opinion on something?" I was like, "Sure." Told me that he was doing a pitch for a website, had some logos, right? Showed me this stuff. And he's like, what do you think of this, right? And again, as usual, it's like, dude, they fucking rock, awesome. Right? Like the logos are good, the website concepts, like he had 3. He presented them 3. They were all solid. And he said that the reaction from the customers were that they hated all 3, right? And I know, it's shocking. I'm like, what? I wanted to beat them up. But hated all 3, and they're like, well, like if we wanted something like this, we just, we would just use our existing logo. And their logo, their current logo and their current website, if it was possible, looked like a website from the 70s. Okay, so picture that. That's what this looked like. And not the cool 70s. Literally, it looked like it was, it wasn't responsive. It was probably built in frames. The logo literally it was so horrible. And they were completely, and so then I was just like, that's impossible. How's this? We talked a bit more. He said that there wasn't one person that was pitching him. There was like 4 owners, and all 4 of them had to look at this. And, he wasn't pitching to the owners directly. It was somebody else internally who had to pitch to him. Right. They all saw the work individually. They didn't see it as a together group. So there were so many of these little things. So needless to say, the experience, he was a little, like shocked. Yeah. Because again, and to me, he's like my hero. So I'm just like, how the hell is this possible, right? Yeah. And then And then I was kind of going through the steps and asking him a lot of questions. And I mean, there's all these things that came up, right? The amount of people, it wasn't him who's presenting. The presentation itself, there was no backstory. So, and then I started thinking that this is something that I guess a lot of designers kind of struggle with, is that whole art of the pitch.
Yes.
Right? Like actually putting the presentation together.
Yes.
Right? Because so many times you think it's just, the artwork speaks for itself.
Yes.
But the reality is that artwork is nothing if it isn't for the rest of the presentation.
Yeah.
Right.
Think of that dude who had to take those logos and that artwork from your buddy up to his boss. He probably just plopped it on the desk. What do you think of these?
Exactly.
Like, there's no context in that.
Exactly. Like there's no context. It was his own take on them. Right. He probably didn't have absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
And if he hadn't had a chance to explain the reasons behind that, maybe it could work.
It could have, right? If there was a little bit more of a backstory, the right presentation. But I mean, the truth of the matter is, in all fairness, that the pitch, the lead up to the creative artwork, all when you sit down, it's probably just as important, if not more, than the actual artwork itself that you're presenting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So I think that's a challenge. I think it's a challenge for all designers. I think it was when I started, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how comfortable you are in that. You're not supposed to do that too much right now, but I know you did a little bit in the past.
Yeah, in the past I've done that.
And
never really good at it. But
it's a personality thing maybe, but that's why I thought this was kind of a cool thing to talk about today, right? Because this is something that I kind of feel. I feel that, I mean, I enjoy. It's one of my actual favorite. I think it was one of the reasons I actually got into this space.
Yeah.
Was for the pitch.
Yeah.
Right.
And the stones on you to go into an interview and say, I'm not even going to look at you. You're not even going to look at this artwork. Let's just get to know you.
You can't have this.
But I could see how refreshing that would be to somebody who's sat there, bored out of their mind listening to somebody. Well, the reasons we did this, that whole kind of dry. Sometimes some people can be very dry with this.
Can you imagine?
With their deliveries.
And it is hard, right?
Yeah,
it's very much a dog and pony show.
Yes.
That's the right term,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's very much about leading up to it and just like the jazz hands afterwards, and you got to show so there's a lot to it. So I mean, I think a lot of designers. Maybe they struggle with imposter syndrome going into that.
Probably.
And they lack the confidence
to
possibly, I'm not good enough to present. Or maybe they psych themselves out and think, oh shit, I'm not good at presentations, right?
Think of it this way. Most people, and I would think they don't really practice that sort of thing, right? You know what I mean?
How do you do it? Right?
I remember doing it a couple of times in school, but it was never like you learned how to design. And I think a lot of people focus their time on that, and not selling their art, which is why I think designers are so bad at this.
Well, generally, part, right? No. And again, because they're not taught that.
That's right.
And that's the thing. So a lot of times is trial, error, what works, what doesn't work, right? I think another thing is creatives are we're empaths. So it's like when you're going up there, you're by showing your creative work, you're like bearing your soul. You're leaving yourself vulnerable and of all places on a stage.
Yes.
So if you're presenting to one person or a team of people or a group, and all of a sudden you get negative feedback, it's like, it's like daggers.
And you have to soldier on. It's almost like the horse with the blinders on, right? You can't focus on that kind of thing because it'll throw you off your whole game.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Like absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like, I don't know. It's like, that one's a tricky one, right? And the whole thing about this is, you're not necessarily bearing your soul if you do this right, because it's not necessarily, about you. It has nothing to do with your feelings and even the artwork, because if you do your artwork right, it has nothing to do with you personally, right? It has to do with the work and how you got to that work. And if you did it properly, that work isn't necessarily coming from way inside of you, right?
That's right. Yes.
It's like the creative part is, but the logic getting there shouldn't have been, right? There should have been a lot more other influences in that.
Exactly.
I think another thing that they're really scared about is like the whole potential of it just being instantly rejected.
Yeah.
Like not even, we can work with this, just like an absolute, like completely, no, forget it, right? Like instantly, that would suck. That would be like somebody kicking you in the nuts.
It would be, with a blue foot that's been out in the snow for too long. Can we back up? Can I back up for a second?
Yeah.
I would like to point out or ask you for your interview with the insurance company for the teachers. You did your research.
100%.
There you go.
100%.
This is cool.
We knew.
This is a big
else,
factor too, right?
We knew who else they were interviewing.
Right.
We knew the kind of work that they did, what they were looking for. We knew that we were a good fit in that sense.
Right.
Oh, we made sure that we did a lot of it that one, right?
Yes.
So again, it's maybe when designers are going in, they're not feeling like they're ready. They have enough background, right? Or they're scared about all of a sudden being caught off guard. But the reality is you should be ready. No matter who you're going in for a pitch, you better know about that company.
That's right.
Right? You better know.
Should be
like,
solid.
Don't ever go in there and not check out their website, not check out their social. No, man. They want to see people who are engaged, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think also a lot of this is just personalities. Designer personalities are so drastic. Some are a little bit more crazy, outgoing, who enjoy this, maybe a little bit more extroverts. A lot are introverts. A lot are great. They're a little bit more quiet. They just like sit there. And we have all here. Right. We've got, the jokers here, but we've also got the quiet ones who just sit in the corner and just work quietly all day and just laugh at everybody else's jokes. Right. So there's a lot of reasons why designers, I guess I could say, don't like pitching or intimidated by it.
Or intimidated by it. It was funny because when you made us pitch that one website,
everybody's going to be doing this now.
There was one teammate was just kind of like, I don't want to do this.
Right. And she was psyching herself out from the start.
And it was just like, that to me is just like, well, this is just, we're all.
Well, and again, the whole point of that is I kind of feel that it's important for everybody to be able to explain why they did what they did. Right. Hopefully it's not just all about, I like this, I feel that. Hopefully it's a little bit more grounded. Right. But that's what I'm going to make sure everybody works on, because I know where I suffer. And sometimes it's my communication skills. I speak in riddles. Where I think for some of the other people, it could be their presentation skills, right? Because again, there's going to come time when sooner or later, everybody's got to pitch or see a customer or talk to a customer. So you got to be on the ball.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So I thought I would share with everybody, straight out how we pitch at zfactor. Right. Our pitch from, pretty much start to finish, not the creative samples, of course, because it's a podcast. But like I said, creativity to me, the creative part of a presentation is usually the smallest part of this whole thing. Right. And again, people underestimate this, right? Like, in my opinion, again, it's like a superstar, awesome spiker in volleyball is nothing without a good setter. Right? No matter how good they can smash that thing, if they don't have
to set them up.
Somebody's got to set them up. And it's the same thing about creative. No matter how good your creative is, if there's no build up to it, it's just going to fall flat.
It's just nice looking stuff on a page.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the way we do this obviously is, strong believers that there's always got to be, the customer needs foundational knowledge, on why they're there, a little bit background on the whole project, right? In order to process why we're even there, right? Like, you walk in, you just start presenting stuff. That's totally going to fail in that part, right? It'll fall flat on its head. They need a little bit, you need to kind of lay down the groundwork, the foundation, so they can actually clean their mind, almost like, kind of like a palette. So they can go into this kind of completely refreshed. Right? They need like a mind cleanse, right? So they can have a clean palette. Seriously, right?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Because they will come to a presentation, right? If somebody's coming for a logo presentation, they're going to have notions in their mind. Somebody's coming to a website presentation, they're going to have their own ideas, right? And honestly, you need to cleanse that palette. So otherwise, if you can't do that, if you can't, walk them through what exactly it is that they should be expecting, not what's in their mind, you're always going to fall flat.
Exactly.
Always, right? You'll never make them happy. So obviously what we do is, number one, we still do pitch when we have the opportunity in person. We like doing it in paper, but now digitally, we've literally done the exact same presentation that we do paper digitally, right? So it's always wide format, always wide format. So just like a portfolio, so it fills up the whole screen, right? Obviously we do our intro slide, something cool about us. If in fact, this is the first time pitching the company, we always put a big flashy image, something, for us, it's like screenshots of the agency,
Or some of the boards.
The boards. Honestly, it's like everything. We've got a little picture of Finn lying down beside the pillow that says "Get shit done," right? So there's all these subliminal and just
awesome.
We don't even talk to it. We go from our title slide that says, zfactor, customer name, and the project why we're here. We go to the next slide. We just let it sit there for just half a second, so they get the culture instantly, right? They're like, cool,
okay,
right? If they ask about it, great. But you know what? Most of the time they just smile, because it's like, cool, I've actually got some people here with personality, right? So then from there, we get to the next screen, right? And obviously, like the very, very first screen that we always have is what exactly we're here to do, which is the objective,
right?
Always, right? We're here today to, do the and point form.
Yeah.
Right. Because generally we speak to it.
Yes.
Okay. So the first slide that they see, of course, is what we're here to do, or basically our objective of this meeting, first and foremost. Okay. Next, based on what it is we do, so let's say hypothetically speaking, it's a website, right? Project. Then we outline the full process. So for a website, it's like 3-step process. Step 1 is like sitemap. Step 2 is wireframe. Step 3 is creative, with a brief description.
Yeah.
And we highlight the stage that we're at.
Right.
So what that does is it sets the stage and lets people know, right? No, don't be talking about creative. We're highlighting that we're here on sitemap.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, don't talk about sitemap or information architecture. We've already gone through that and approved it. We're here to talk about creative, right? So it gives them an idea of it, right?
Yeah.
So so we highlight the stage we're on, okay? The next slide then, we just give a little bit more explanation on that stage. So it's like, okay, so just to remind you, we have a process when we design websites, or we have a process when we create logos and brand images, right?
Right.
1, 2, 3, we've already done this one, we've already done this one. Right now we're in the creative stage. Flip to the next slide. Yeah. Creative stage. This is what you can expect. This is the stage where we're here to talk about this, right? So again, we're starting to set the stage and we're building this story, right? They're like, oh shit, so we've already done stage 1 and 2.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember now. We're now on the third part, right?
Section, yes.
Absolutely. So then we go to that. So we highlight that, right? Then we put down the next one is the outcome slide.
Outcome.
Okay. And the outcome slide is basically what we're hoping to achieve after we've gone through this.
Nice.
So again, we're here to present you some creative, and hopefully from today we can have a group consensus, right? And again, it's big, bold. For us, it's always like outcome,
yes,
right? And then this is what it is that we're here to achieve, right?
Yeah.
Same with the website. We're here to achieve this. We're here to achieve that. So again, everything. So we're leading them down a story. So they're not going to try to take, start talking about things or go off in directions that we're not here to talk about or prepared to talk about today.
So it's a gentle guiding them into down the path. Yes.
That's key, right? We have to own that presentation. We have to guide it. As soon as they start saying, no, we'd rather do it this way. We want to do it. You've lost them, right? They're fucking with your process.
Yes.
No. We cannot have that, right? Yes. So huge, right? So this is what we're here to outcome. If there's criteria to follow, right? We always list that. Yeah. The reason we list that is people will forget, right? So just so you guys know, the criteria is we have to use the color this. Yeah. It has to work on a bus, we have to incorporate a fucking duck because the owner loves ducks, right? Honestly, this is the criteria that we needed to follow, so nobody can then all of a sudden start having their conversation go off in different directions. Right. Yeah. And that's key, honestly, because so many times that shit comes back and bites you.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that doing there?
Yeah. Right. Or I wish we could do this, and it's like no. Like we've had people that have been like, I know it's our brand color, but I think we need to introduce other colors. It's just like, where'd that come from? We have to use your defined brand colors. Dude, we've heard it all. And then last but not least, right? After the criteria, if there's any limitations we have to overcome, we list that as well.
Okay, yeah.
And it sounds like a lot,
right?
But honestly, when you go in order, this is our process, right? This is the stage of our process that we're in. Today, we're hoping to achieve this with you. This is the criteria we've been given to do within. Yeah. And these are the limitations we have when doing this. Right. So it's not like, I've just talked 10 minutes about this, but in reality, it takes 3 minutes of presentation, right? Yeah. Answers any questions, but then it puts everybody on the same page. Right. So when you do then present the creative, there's no, curveballs. People aren't like thinking, oh shit, I thought we were going to be seeing finished logos today. It's like, no. We've already talked about this and we've gone down this road. Right. Yeah. So this is what, we have to do that because the reason is if we don't lay down this groundwork in this format, then we aren't sure if everybody's aligned. Yes. And just like you said, you can have people go in all these crazy ass directions. It's really going to mess you up. Yes. Especially in a presentation. Yeah. Right? Presentations are all about being prepared. Right. Right? Prepared with what you have to say, prepared with, what they could be, feeding back. You follow this, there's not much that they can actually say during every stage. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's always for us the lead up, of course, right? Right. Cool. We want to make sure they're aligned. And then of course, we want to make sure that everybody agrees to things before we move on with them, right? This also, allows people to catch up if they weren't there for meetings, right? Again, you have the process in place. It's like, oh shit, you weren't here. That's the criteria we have to follow,
right?
Because there's nothing worse than like a squeaky wheel, because it's that one person who's like,
right?
"Oh, I know I wasn't here for the last meeting, but it's like, no. Well, this is what we've already addressed.
Yes.
So you can't really throw that in at this stage, right?
Exactly.
Honestly, and it's that person that you want to shut up.
Yeah, totally. Because they're the disruptors, right? They're the ones who are going to bring up.
They're the one.
Let's add some new colors, please. No, we discussed this already, and we're not going to do it. So let's move on.
Amazing. Yes. It's amazing. Yes. So then basically, once we do that, we start on the creative. In this case, if it's a creative project, wireframes, right? Logo design.
Yeah.
Now, again, a couple tips that I would like to share before creating, or before presenting the creative, right? That always works for us. We always stress to people, number one, leave all your feedback at the end, right? So we can get through our pitch and everything, right?
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
But then we couch it with, I want you to focus on your initial reaction to what I'm going to show you.
Right.
Don't analyze it.
Right.
Just sit. Whatever your initial reaction is, hone in on that and remember that. Because the reality is you have to remind people that a customer, your end user, is only going to give you that much attention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If it's a logo, they're going to look at it for 3 seconds.
And then
get a reaction and move on.
Yeah.
But somebody else in the company will just analyze the hell out of it, right?
The more you see something, the
absolutely
more you pick it apart.
Or the more you're asked to pick it up, or you're put into a position where to pick it apart. It's a never-ending thing.
Exactly.
So we always remind people to focus in on just your initial reaction first.
Yeah.
More than anything else, because analysis paralysis really does exist.
Big time.
Absolutely.
Big time.
Yeah. When you present, you gauge their initial reaction, right? You always gauge it, and you play into it.
Yeah.
If you can, right? Like you see, it's like, you're like, right? It is. It's a lot more this, a lot more that, right? Make sure that it's a very fluid experience for them, right?
Right.
Because, and don't forget, if you have the chance, put it in a mock-up as well, right? Like if you are creating, a tradesale banner stand, throw it in a banner stand. If you're creating logo concepts, right? Present them on business cards, on the side of a vehicle, or wherever they're going to show.
Practical applications for this, so
people need to see that.
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, they can't visualize it, right?
Exactly.
Creatives, we underestimate, the importance it is, right?
Big time.
But then scale also makes a huge difference, I think, for a lot of these.
Totally. Yeah.
People can't see the scale of like what their logo could look like, or this or that, right? Sometimes they might think it's great, but when you shrink it down to like on a digital banner, it disappears.
Exactly. Or conversely, what we've seen a lot of is these wonderful motion logos with all the swirly whirls and all kinds of stuff like that. Put that in black and white on something and see how that's going to look.
Right.
Calendly, we're talking to you.
Oh my God, Calendly logo.
You know what I mean?
Like, honestly, and that logo, literally, we carved that one last year, and boy, we were the only
new one. I know, right? I know. We were not alone in that.
I think it actually went down as the worst logo of 2021.
I think you're right. It did.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, what happened? They got a bunch of money, and they were focused on going to Pentagram, hiring an award-winning designer, and it was like, wow, look at how fancy it is. And it's just like everybody called bullshit on it.
Yeah, totally. And all that digital stuff was just a distraction from from a terrible logo, essentially.
Sadly, it is.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, these are good. It's good to have a practical application where it's gonna, on a business card. It's always awesome.
You know why that logo went and it worked?
Why?
They probably had a really good fucking presentation
I
leading
bet you
up
they had
to
a great
it.
pitch.
They had the good pitch. They got to it. They wowed, because you have to admit,
it was Pentagram. Obviously, they got to be good at what they do.
Fuck, they're great at what they do.
Yeah.
And even if it's a newer designer or partner there, they've got like years and years of legends to sit there and be like, present it like this, do this, say this, and then it's hard for anybody to question, right? Because you feel like an idiot. You're like, can I question this award-winning person from this award-winning agency?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm spending a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm spending a lot of money. It must be good.
It's got to be good.
Yeah, not necessarily.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. So needless to say, I am a firm believer that all the work and the lead up to the pitch is just as important, if not more, than the actual creative that you're delivering at that stage.
Absolutely.
This whole idea about the creative will speak for itself.
Yeah, it's
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Because nobody knows your thought. You can't. You have to explain yourself why you got to this point.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, again, otherwise everybody's going to be critiquing this on an emotional basis, on how they feel.
Yes, exactly.
And, unfortunately, sometimes you got to layer in logic on top of this. You got to remind people, what we talked about at the last meeting. You've got to remind people the limitations. Not everybody's going to be on the same page with this.
Right. That's
right.
right.
What a disaster.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so that's our process.
Right.
On how to present and how we present, but a couple things I was thinking about that I would recommend if you had to present, like to help people be better presenters. Right. Little tips, tricks, like mossisms, if you want to call it that, or whatever. Things that have worked for me. All right. So number one, and I hate to say this, and this might be hard for people, but you have to, as hard as you can, even if it's not your personality, be personable. You have to. You have to more than anything. And I'm not saying if you're an introvert, don't be an introvert. Introverts are fucking great in this space, right? Because people listen to them. But you don't want to be standing at the front of a room waiting for everybody with your hands crossed in front of you, waiting to pitch, not saying a single thing. They're going to walk in. It's going to be uncomfortable. They're going to be like thinking, who the hell is this guy? Maybe your contact will be like, oh, yeah, I know this guy, or I know this gal. But I mean, again, everybody else who's coming in who's never met you, if you're sitting that way, it's just like, ooh, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's not going to go well.
if you have a lead and there's other people involved, strike a conversation with your lead. First off, right? Make sure that, they're hearing
engage with them. Yeah.
They're hearing, at least if you're uncomfortable, you can engage with the person that you know.
Yeah.
Okay. So absolutely, you have to show, and you have to show your personality. You have to let your personality shine.
Yeah.
If you're quirky, you have to be quirky. And if you have nothing to talk about, heaven forbid, talk about the damn weather, obviously, but you just have to show that you're not like stone cold, emotionless, and just like a robot at the front.
Yes.
It's just going to make it uncomfortable for everybody.
Nobody likes that kind of thing.
No, dude. So you've got to try as hard as you can.
Yeah.
If you have to, share a story.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't even share a story about, oh my God, your experience, something that happened on the way in, right? Get a reaction, get some sort of conversation going with people, right? Because then it kind of shows that you're opening yourself up.
Yeah.
And they will do the same.
Yeah. And you're human.
Yes.
Everybody likes a human.
Dude. Yeah, you have to.
No one wants a robot presenting to them.
Jeez. So number one, you have to try to be personable.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Number two, as hard as you can, try as hard as you fucking can to always present. Don't create creative work and then send it over email or let somebody else present it. Right. Don't do that shit.
Right.
If you have the power, and I mean, this has happened a lot, unfortunately, over the years, right? Like, we will, 99% of the time, I will present.
Yeah.
But sometimes when, you're working with people and they're in a chain of command, they're like, no, I'll present it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm going to present it you don't know what they're presenting.
Exactly.
You don't know the style, the passion, how you got this way.
Yeah.
They might be creating based on, number one, they might have their own biases. They might be talking about their own feelings, right? There's a process here.
Yes.
Yeah. If you can, and I mean, again, like you have to explain the logic on how you got here, the reasoning, how you got here, the data to back up how you got here. Otherwise, again, they're just going to be picking based on just creativity, and that's not necessarily always the right thing.
Or based on what that person presenting is, because if they don't like it, you can bet your ass that person they're pitching to is not going to like it either, because it's going to be a negative pitch.
Absolutely. Fuck.
Yeah, you don't want that. That's not good.
Number three.
Yes.
Okay. As hard as you can, try to always tell a story. Okay.
Yes.
The foundation of the pitch tells a story. It's a lead up. It's a lead in, right? You've got to make sure you tell the story, because there has to be a build up of what it is that you're doing and how you got there. You can't just all of a sudden pop. There it is.
Yeah.
Right. You have to make that story, because you have to think of it this way. Your mind is a logic seeking mechanism. Okay. It looks automatically for data points to connect to make sense of things. Right. It helps recollection. It helps people understand. Right. If I was to be there like, okay, Sean, remember this, phone booth, explosion, cape, glasses, like monsters. You'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But if I'm like, this dude with glasses is walking down the street. There's an explosion with monsters coming out. He runs into a phone booth and comes out as Superman. All of a sudden, that makes
story
sense.
Makes sense. Yes,
right? And
exactly.
I know it's a ridiculous example, but it's true.
No,
it's like all of a sudden you can put all those logic points together, and it tells a story.
Yeah.
So people understand it. They remember it, right? And again, it helps the burden of them trying to understand and process what it is that you're doing.
Right.
If it's in a logical order, your mind will do all the work for them. Right. So, it allows them to be a lot more receptive to the actual, the climatic experience of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
you have to always try to build that story.
Yeah.
Huge part about that. Right. This one is interesting, but I have to stress this more than anything. Avoid making anything personal about this. Okay.
Yes.
Although you might have, personal feelings towards what you created, when you're presenting, you avoid anything about, I did this because of this.
Yes.
I like this color. I felt that this was a better way to represent your brand. Because the reality is these people are hiring you because of your experience. Not because you're an artist. Right? They're not buying your feelings. They are buying your experience to help them solve a problem.
Yes.
Right? So, it's funny. When we present, I always know that we did a good job when, literally at the very, very end of the presentation, after talking and this and that, the last thing they say is, well, which is your favorite concept? Because that meant that, we kept it completely unobjective throughout the whole way and led the whole thing with, important data, logic, right? Industry UX says this, right now, this color is most associated with your brand. Your competitors are using these fonts, right? Like, again, removing any sort of me, I, this is about, any sort of subjective, right? Like make sure it's completely unbiased. Right? And speaks to your experience. Right. And I think that's key. And a lot of times I think, a rookie mistake that we see is people, they think that when they're presenting something, they have to defend their reasoning. But this shouldn't be about their reasoning. Right? Like it should be about the bigger picture and why they chose things. Right?
Yeah, that's very cool, because to be asked at the end what your favorite option was, like, I mean, that is a perfect generic. Like, I want you to choose. You know what I mean? Like that's
it just means
such
that
a great way to do that. Because you're not leaning one way, or the other kind of thing with these. It's wide open, like,
right, in that sense. And
you have all the
key,
knowledge.
Right?
I've given you all the knowledge. You can pick which one. Do you give them answers? Do you tell them?
So sometimes I find it's funny because we were talking about that today, and somebody here, she told me that she, that even when asked what is my favorite choice of my first, I still keep it broad enough that I'm not dissing anything, even though I'm favoriting, and it's always like I like this part from this element, I like this part from this, and I still make sure that I defend all of them equally, right? But I don't just necessarily pinpoint one or the other. Now, what is okay if they ask you is again, it's not about me, it's not about I. But you can say, in my past experiences, or in the past when we have implemented this strategy, we've gotten this result. So this is kind of the only way I would dance around that whole idea about, it's about me. Right? Because it's never about, my personal feelings, unless they're hiring you because you are a specific artist. If it's like a, Draplin, they're hiring, or David Carson, right? Okay. Then by all means, you're buying the person and their style. But let's face it, that's not most of the people that we're listening, that we have listening to us.
This is true.
So again, never, ever, ever make it personal. Okay. Don't ever refer to any of this as me, my feelings, my opinion, nothing, because that's not what they need to hear.
That's right.
Cool. When it comes to feedback, guide the feedback. Okay. And that's the thing. Don't just all of a sudden let feedback get out of control. Because it will spiral out of control really quick. Right? When you do open up the stage for feedback, make sure that the feedback is clear, it's concise, and try to guide the direction of it, just so that shit doesn't just kind of go all over the place, right? Like, you don't want them to start bringing up things from before or other customers or things that are immaterial to the project at hand, because otherwise it's going to remove you from the objective that you clearly stated at the beginning. That's, that's a big problem, right? Sometimes we actually even will include a slide that says the kind of feedback that we're looking for. Today we're here to approve a look. Or today we're here to approve a mark. Today we're here to, approve a font choice.
Right.
A color scheme, right? And that's what we try to keep. They can bring in other, that's fine. But we want to try to guide what kind of feedback it is that we're looking for. Right.
Yeah.
So guide the feedback. And then again, if you have to, just let them know what parts to focus on. Right. Focus on this part today. Focus on, just the header on the website. Don't worry about the rest of the body. Don't worry the fact that, the footer is incomplete.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to point that shit out and it's going to go down. Oh.
Yeah, and they're going to obsess over that kind of stuff. It's like, focus on the messaging at the top first.
Yeah.
And then we'll work our way down to the footer, right?
It happens.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Control the pace.
Control the pace.
Absolutely. That one's an important one. You need to control the pace. You need to be obviously cognizant of the time that you have. Right. And then, how much time you approximately need for this and that. But you want to control the pace of, the presentation, the questions, the process, right? And again, I'm sure nobody's ever going to mind if you get through it faster and get to that end result.
Right.
But you'll do that if you clearly define the whole process and what you're looking for. Right. So that's a key, right? Honestly, controlling the pace of that whole presentation is so important.
Yeah. That makes sense.
This one's a hard one to try to do, but if you have to put it in your statement of work, if you have to put it in your contract, I highly recommend it. But try to make sure that all stakeholders that have an opinion are going to be present for the important milestone meetings.
Right.
That has fucked us over so many times over the past, 22 years.
Right.
It's like, you start presenting to people who were supposed to be stakeholders. Somebody else comes in at a later stage.
Yep.
They weren't privy to all the other phases you've already went into.
Right.
And they start shooting their opinion, this, that. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Sadly, you weren't here for stages 1 and 2. You weren't here. We're going through this shit right now when, we've been working through a web process with a company. We've gotten through all the phases. It's gone through approvals, all the way, literally all the way up to the CMO. The architecture's in place, the wireframes, the creative, the content management system they chose. Then, near the end, literally in the tail end, they brought on someone else who wasn't privy to any of the other conversations.
Right.
And let me tell you, then all of a sudden they're complaining about the content management system. They want the process to be like this. They want the architecture to be like that.
Yeah.
And it has literally derailed this entire project. It's now, this probably will be our next customer that we're going to fire, sadly, right? Because it is such a miserable experience.
Yeah.
Because this person wasn't there from the beginning.
Right.
They came in at a later stage, and unfortunately, that stakeholder wasn't present at all those meetings.
Right.
So if it's somebody who is going to have a say in the project, they need to be present.
Yeah.
Honestly, you have to make sure of this.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of a sad scenario because this person was brought in like halfway through this process.
Yeah. Two-thirds
of the way through to whip this shit into shape kind of thing, right? So you got to think that there's some kind of personal gain involved in
right?
I must
their stamp
this myself.
Yes.
Yeah. Which you're right, because they're not involved in the process.
Absolutely.
I don't understand. I've never understood that. It's just like, why would you not let the professionals handle this?
Yeah. Well, and again, that kind of goes back to that other whole when to fire a customer, right? Like,
good point.
Like you said, they want to put their stamp on it. So, all of a sudden they want to flex their expertise.
Right.
They're not seeing, us as the experts,
Right.
they're not trusting the process to the way. And again, the presentation helps.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we've already gotten here. These are the phases we've gone through. This is the criteria we have.
Yeah.
But some people will still, we've had meetings where they're just like, I know I wasn't here before. I know I wasn't in the previous meetings. I know it's not on brand. And they're giving these stupid fucking excuses. And I'm just like, why are you even opening your mouth?
Serious?
But it's that squeaky wheel that's just constantly, it's just like a little cut. Next thing you know, you've got this huge gouge and bleeding out the whole project.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
It really is. It is
totally.
100%.
Yeah.
So, if you can, please save yourself the mercy and make sure all stakeholders are involved in that one.
That's crucial. I can see with that.
Dude, we just experienced this recently. Like I'm talking this week. We just had a whole project derailed because we got approval on a trade show booth, thinking we were good to go. It was going to take a full day to prep it for output, and then all of a sudden, 2 days later, after approval. No, somebody else saw it,
and they didn't
and they absolutely refused it. And it was the CEO. I don't know why they didn't see it beforehand.
Yes.
And then we had to literally completely start everything that we had worked from, and we lost 2 days worth of work. And this it had nothing to do with the money at that point.
No,
I don't care. Hey,
no,
we'll make that money back, and we'll charge them for every minute spent.
Right.
But it just fucks up everything else in the pipeline.
Right.
Right. And it was because that person wasn't involved when they needed to be. Right.
Yep.
Oh, dude, I hated this. And last but not least, now that I am more pissed than when I fucking started.
Have a drink, dude. Have a drink.
Hold on.
Yeah, you must drink at least. Yeah, is that better?
All
Is that
right,
better?
all right. Last but not least, okay, you make sure you know your shit going into that presentation.
There you go. And I guess that goes back to what I was your original insurance pitch. You knew what you were talking about. You knew enough that you could say, "Look, we're just going to we're going to get personal here. Well, I'm going to get to know you guys." And then the work, whatever. We'll look at that later.
If you don't know your shit going into it, it never fails. You will get called out on it.
You've done your homework.
They're going to be like, well, you don't even know our industry. Do you know any of our competitors? Have you seen our website? No. You make sure you've got everything. You make sure you can talk. You're not expected to know their business better than they do, of course. But you better know enough that you can defend your, reasoning, what you're pitching, your ideas based on, what you know. Like, don't go in blind. Don't go in with wafer thin understanding.
It's a company and they're in the tech industry.
You're in the tech industry.
What else do I need to know?
Yeah, right. And you've got a cool name. That's it. Oh, dude.
Ooh,
honestly,
shit,
if you get called on that, like you can't. That's it. You've lost that.
You're done.
Pitch, right?
Forget it. Yeah. Because chances are, whatever the work you've done is not in line with what they're looking for.
Absolutely.
You don't know.
Not.
You have no idea what they're looking for.
Absolutely. Honestly, following these, obviously we gave our pitch.
Yeah.
And I've over the years followed all these, concepts, all these tips. And I still, every time I pitch, I go through every one of these. I make sure I'm covered with every one of these. And, it has helped me love to present. Yeah. Like, honestly, I get a rush out of pitching. Like sometimes I push myself even harder. Like, what else can I do?
Dude, I've seen you after a good pitch and it's like you're smoking a cigarette like you just had sex.
Right? Well, I kind of did, actually. It was a different kind of release.
It's a different release, but it's still pretty damn good.
But it's true. It's like it's helped me become very confident in presenting, right? Because I know my shit, and it kind of it
and
takes
hone
away.
the process too.
It does. It really. You're right, because even through that process, sometimes we realize we missed this.
There's minor tweaks that you do.
Absolutely,
yes, exactly.
You always got to know your shit, right?
Totally.
So, like, honestly, keep these ideas. Use our process if you want to. If you guys want a copy of it, drop me an email, hit us up on our website. I'll gladly send a presentation to anybody who wants one of what we've done, how we present, just to give you an idea of just, by all means, this is, like share economy, just take it. I don't care.
Yeah.
But it has helped us avoid any sort of awkwardness in presentations, right?
Yeah. Maybe that should be our next contest. Moss will come and pitch your stuff for you.
I will get you your next job.
He'll do a great job and he'll love it, man. He'll totally.
Oh shit, dude! I would love it.
You would. I know you. You would totally do that.
I remember once I was on the receiving end of a pitch.
Yeah. Oh.
And they were doing such a bad job. I was helping them.
You're
I'm like, wait. No. You need to be more like this. Tell me this, more like that. And it got to the point where I was like, here, let me do this. I got up, I made a joke about it, and I pitched their company to the rest of the people. And they were like, can I use that? I was like, hell yeah, you can.
That's awesome. Oh my God.
It was fun. And I felt a little jerkish, but in the end, I was like, they thanked me. They were like, I'm going to use a lot of that.
But there you go. You taught them what they should have known in the first place, right?
Kind of cool.
No, this is really good because I think this is true. A lot of people aren't aware just how important this pitch is and the mindset going into it kind of thing. It's very
absolutely. It's, in my opinion, it is equal to the creative. Sets the stage for the creative.
Yeah.
Honestly, you can probably sell really shitty creative using a decent pitch.
Yeah.
And you can lose showing amazing creative without the right pitch.
That's exactly.
So honestly,
it.
This helps you get jobs. It helps you get customers. And it helps instill confidence not only in you,
right,
but then in your customers that you're pitching
Yeah.
and having them think that you're the expert.
Yes.
And that's key, right? Like we always go on about, you've lost the customer as soon as you've lost that expert status.
Yeah.
Doing this
Yeah.
lays the groundwork. They will never question your expert status.
Yes,
and
exactly.
it's humbling. I mean, we are constantly pitching people that are 100 times smarter than I am. We have rocket scientists that we've pitched to. We have people that just, I can't believe the knowledge that comes out of their mouth. And it's humbling. It's just like, wow, I think that you're the smartest person I know.
Yeah.
And they're looking at me as an expert.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing here in this area.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So honestly, it's flat. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
And kudos to people like that actually acknowledge that, I'm not 100% with this.
It is cool.
You got to trust the experts on this kind of thing. Yeah.
Cool, dude.
Yeah, that was awesome.
All right, I'm glad.
I want to do a pitch now.
Well, Sean, surprise. Guess what you're doing tomorrow morning?
Oh, shit,
I hope you're paying attention.
Oh boy.
All right, by all means, everybody, if you like what you heard today, by all means, please hit us up on our website. Give us a great review. We've got a contest this month to remind you, hit us up on a review on Apple Podcasts and then drop us a message on either our website or on Instagram that you did so. And, you will be in a draw for AirPod Pros, one set every month for the next 3 months. Ooh, okay. So it's a sweet deal. Yeah. By all means, drop us a line on our website, hit us up on Instagram. We have an awesome group on Instagram. I love chatting with these people on Instagram. They're hilarious, actually. Surprise, surprise. But by all means, we just want to share the love, and we want to help graphic designers survive and thrive. Yeah, really. And I think that's our goal here. And these pitch hints, these pitch proofs, everything that we do here, this is 100% how we do it, and it works. And I genuinely hope that some of this can help you guys pitch.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it will. This is good. This is gold, people.
Shit, right? All right, I like that. Okay, good. Woo. All right, buddy. Well, let's go brave that damn snow inside.
Oh, geez.
We're gonna have to shovel just to get to our car, right?
Yeah, I know.
All right, everybody. My name is Massimo.
Yeah, my name is Sean.
Stay creative
and stay angry.